We shall commence this module by discussing the federal system in India. There is a three-tier quasi-federal system in India. The constitution allocates the function to centre, state and local bodies. The constitution divided the subject among them according their micro and macro importance. In this system, the role of centre is more important on various criteria. This happens due to various differences in India according to religion, language, culture, geographical diversity, etc. and our previous experiences. The national important subject comes under the central government, so that important and valuable resources are in centre list. State and local bodies are depend on centre for their financial resources. The centre mobilizes the financial resource through various channels to states and local bodies. The Finance Commission and Planning Commission are the main agencies who provided the ways and criteria for resource mobilization. They evaluate the financial requirements of all the units of government and try to maintain the vertical and horizontal equity among the various tiers of government. After the change economic atmosphere introducing the GST and the changing role of Planning Commission to Policy Commission, we require the change in measurements of resource mobilization. The 14th Finance Commission gives some measurement in this direction. After starting this module, you shall be able to know the constitutional provisions of financial power both at centre and state level, learn about the role of Finance Commission in resource mobilization, learn about the role of Planning Commission in resource mobilization, learn about the changes in measures for resource mobilization. Let us now understand the constitutional provisions for division of subjects at government levels. The Indian Constitution has all the features of a federation with the specification of centres and the state's financial powers and functional responsibilities and the institutions required for a federal structure and a well-defined mechanism for intergovernmental transfers to resolve horizontal and vertical imbalances which characterize most federations. Next is taxation powers. There is a clear separation of the unions and the states' taxation powers in the Constitution. Under Article 246 of the Constitution, there are three lists named as the Union list, the State list and the Concurrent list. In terms of the listed subjects in the Union list including taxes, the exclusionary power to make laws lies with the centre. Similarly, the exclusionary power to make laws lies with states for the taxes listed in the state list. No taxes are listed in the concurrent list. 13 taxes are listed in the union list. The crucial taxes listed in the union list are income tax other than agricultural land, custom duties, excise duties, corporation tax, estate duty and taxes on sale and purchase of goods. 19 taxes are listed in the state list. The important taxes listed in the state list are land revenue, taxes on agriculture income, taxes on land and buildings, taxes on mineral, duties of excise on alcohol, taxes levied on sale and purchase of goods excluding newspapers, taxes on goods and travellers carried by road, taxes on vehicles, taxation on professions, taxes on luxuries including on entertainments, taxes on admission of goods into a local area and taxes on advertisements other than those published in newspapers and broadcast by radio or television. Next are expenditure responsibilities. The union and the state list under the 7th schedule prescribed in the Constitution under Article 246 contain subjects in respect of which the union and the states have exclusive jurisdiction to make laws respectively. Additionally, a few subjects are listed in the concurrent list in terms which both the Union and the states have concurrent powers for making laws. Resolution to the prevalence of broad pattern in other federations, themes of national importance such as defense, foreign affairs, money and banking, communications, national highways, shipping, ports, airways and macroeconomic management have been assigned to the Union. Themes of regional concern such as public order, agriculture, irrigation, public health and sanitation, roads and bridges not specified in the Union list and industries other than those declared by Parliament to be of strategic importance are allocated to states. The important subjects specified in the concurrent list are criminal law, administration of justice, contracts, forest, economic and social planning, population control and family planning, education and newspapers. The subjects listed in the Union and the state list broadly define the responsibilities related to the expenditure of the centre and the states respectively. Next is institutional mechanism for intergovernmental transfers. From the subject separation between the Union and the states, it is transparent that there is an asymmetry between the powers regarding taxation and the functional responsibilities. While the centre is allocated with taxes that generate higher revenue, states are assigned with more functional responsibilities. To resolve the concern of gap in the resources allocated to states and their responsibilities regarding expenditure, the Constitution provides an institutional mechanism in the shape of Finance Commission and other enabling provisions for the transposing of resources from the centre. Article 280 authorized the establishment of a Finance Commission within 2 years from the start of the Constitution and after that at the expiration of every 5th year or sooner as the President of India considers necessary. The obligations of the Finance Commission as specified under the article are: first, the distribution between the Union and the states of the net proceeds of taxes which are to be or may be split between them and the distribution between the states in accordance with their respective shares. Second, the principles which should govern the grants in aid out of the Consolidated Fund of India. Third, the measures needed to augment the Consolidated Fund of a state to supplement the resources of the panchayats and municipalities in the state. And fourth, any other matter referred to the Commission by the President in the interest of sound finance. All the taxes and duties referred to in the Union list with the exception of duties referred to in Articles 268 and 269 and surcharges referred to in Article 271 and any cesses levied for specific purposes shall be distributed between the Union and the states under Article 270. Article 268 refers to duties levied by the Union but collected and appropriated by the states. These are such stamp duties and such duties of excise on medicinal and toilet preparations as are mentioned in the Union list. Under Article 269, taxes on the sale of goods and taxes on the consignment of goods shall be collected by the Government of India but shall be assigned to states. Now, we will discuss the grants to states. There are 2 articles governing the grant in aid from the Union to the states. Article 275 subsection 1 provides for grants in aid of the revenues of such states as Parliament may determine to be in need of assistance and different sums may be fixed for different states. There are 2 provisions to clause 1 of this article. This deal with the promotion of the welfare of scheduled tribes in the state of Assam. Under clause 2 of article 275, no order with regard to grants under clause 1 shall be made except after considering the recommendations of the Finance Commission. Keeping in view these provisions, the terms of reference of Finance Commissions stipulate that the Commission shall make recommendations for the purposes other than those specified in provisions to clause 1. Thus, the Finance Commission recommend grants under the substantive provision of Article 275 subsection 1. Grants under Article 275 are charged on the Consolidated Fund of India. Under Article 282, the Union or a state can make any grants for any public purpose, notwithstanding that the purpose is not one with respect to which Parliament or the legislature of a state, as the case may, make laws. Unlike the grants under Article 275, which can be dispensed only on the recommendations of the Finance Commission, constitutional provisions mission and are charged. Grants under Article 282 can be made with no such restriction and are voted. Next is public borrowing. Article 292 and 293 define the borrowing powers of the Union and the states respectively. Under Article 292, the executive power of the Union extends to borrowing upon the security of the Consolidated Fund of India within such limits, if any, as may from time to time be fixed by Parliament by law. This power extends to giving guarantees. Article 293 empowers a state to borrow within the territory of India upon the security of the Consolidated Fund of the state. Thus, states can borrow only within the territory of India. Clause 2 of Article 293 imposes the condition that a state may not raise any loan if any part of the loan extended by the Government of India remains outstanding. In such cases, the permission of the Government of India is required for a state to raise a loan. Now, we will move on to discuss the measures taken by Finance Commission. In analyzing intergovernmental transfer mechanism in India, it is very important to know that various finance commissions have taken measures on the basis of a few criteria. First, FC. Income taxes were shared in the following way: 80% on the basis of population and 20% on the basis of revenue collection of the state. 40% of the net proceeds of excise duties were to be distributed among the states on the basis of population. Second FC. Income taxes are to be distributed in this way: 90% of tax collection was to be distributed on the basis of population and 10% on the basis of revenue collection. 25% of the net proceeds from excise duties were to be distributed among states. Third FC. For income taxes, 80% was distributed on the basis of population and 20% on the basis of revenue collection of the state. In case of excise duty, there is an increase in the number of commodities in the divisible pool from 8 to 35 by including all commodities on which duties were collected in 1960-61 but reduced the state's share from divisible pool from 25% to 20%. Fourth FC. 80% on the basis of population and 20% on the basis of revenue collection of the state income taxes were shared. In case of excise duty, the number of commodities had been increased to 45. The share of commodities was retained at 20%. Fifth FC. Population was the major criteria of devolution of income tax. Did not make any change for excise duties. Sixth FC. Followed same as fifth FC. Seventh FC. Population became the major criterion of devolution of income tax. For excise duties, 7th FC raised the state's share to 40% of the net proceeds. 25% weightage was equally given to population. Increase in per capita income of the state. the percentage of poor in each state, a formula for income equalization between states. 8th FC. For income taxes, first 10% on the basis of income tax collection. Second, out of remaining 90%, 25% on the basis of population, 25% on the basis of inverse of per capita income of the state multiplied by population, 50% on the basis of the distance of per capita income of a state from the highest per capita income state multiplied by population of the state. For excise tax, 8th FC raised state share to 45% and introduced the same formula as 7th FC for 40% of proceeds and retained 5% share to distribute that among deficit states. 9th FC. For income tax, 9th FC basically followed the above formula with minor modification. 9th FC added one more criterion, that is backwardness of states based on population of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Number of agricultural labourers in different states as revealed in 1981 census. According to FC, the composite index will correctly reflect poverty and backwardness of a state in large measure. The states having large share of these components were required to bear substantial expenditure responsibilities. 9th FC proposed to distribute the entire amount of 45% as a consolidated amount. The formula used was 25% on the basis of 1971 census, 12.5% on the basis of index of backwardness, 33.5% on the state of per capita income of the state from highest per capita income state, 12.5% on the basis of income adjusted total population, 16.5% among states with deficits after taking into account their shares from all shareable taxes. 10th FC. For income taxes, 10th FC proposed first 20% on the basis of population of 1971, second 60% on the basis of distance of per capita income of a state from that of state having highest per capita income, third 5% on the basis of area adjusted, fourth 5% on the basis of index of infrastructure, fifth 10% on the basis of tax effort. 9th FC distributed 47.5% of net proceeds from excise taxes among states. Using the same formula as used in sharing of income taxes, 40% of excise taxes were distributed among major states. Remaining 7.5% taxes were distributed among deficit states. 11th FC. Share in taxes. First, 10% on the basis of population. Second, 62.5% on the basis of distance of per capita income from that of state having highest per capita income. Third, 7.5% on the basis of area. Fourth, 7.5% weight is given to index of infrastructure. Fifth, 7.5% weight is given to fiscal discipline. 12th FC. 25% on the basis of population 1971, 10% on the basis of area, 50% on the basis of income distance, 7.5% on the basis of fiscal discipline, 7.5% on the basis of tax effort. 13 FC. 25% on the basis of population 1971, 10% on the basis of area, 47.5% on the basis of fiscal capacity distance, 17.5% on the basis of fiscal discipline. Moving on to discuss the measures taken by Planning Commission. The Planning Commission, on the other hand, transfers resources on the basis of population, per capita income tax effort, fiscal management, literacy, land reform, etc. The transfer of the Planning Commission is based on a formula where 30% of the transfers are in the form of grants and 70% as loans. States cannot accept only grants without taking loans. Thus, grants and loans are tied together. The formula used by the Planning Commission in transferring resources to the states. 60% of the Planning Commission's transfer is based on population of the state. 15% of transfers are based on the following formula. 7.5% of resources are transferred on the basis of A. Tax effort, B. Fiscal management, include the speed of utilization of committed foreign aid and states' performance of revenue collection, and C. Progress in respect of national objectives. And another 7.5% of transfers are allocated to meet special problems of the state such as population control, literacy and land reform. The remaining 25% of transfers were made on the basis of per capita state domestic product SDP based on the following formula. 20% was given only to states with less than average per capita SDP on the basis of the inverse formula, and the remaining 5% according to the distance formula. It have been used revenue effort, budgetary deficit and distance of state per capita income from highest per capita income state as the three important criteria in the devolution of transfer by the central government. It is also observed that population is used as the important criteria of formula based transfer. Let us now understand the changes in measures for resource mobilization. After 1991, the role of state has been changing after adopting the new economic reform policy. After this, the importance of large level planning at center and states level is decreasing. The market is playing wider role in economic activities. The role of state in this economic and social activity is increasing, so that states require more resources to meet out his responsibilities. Some states have come in debt trap so that they are unable to function properly. But the states are very much depending on center for financial resources. These are the problems identified by various finance commissions in their recommendations. It states that it is required to transfer more resource to states with help of new measurements, which can achieve the new fiscal targets. The 13th Finance Commission states in its recommendation that there should be greater financial autonomy for the state. The federal system should move toward the sound financial states in place of center, because the most of the economic and social responsibility come upon the states. They require more resources for these responsibilities. Now they have come in debt trap. The burden of debt on states should be decreased. There should be a roadmap to bring out the states from this situation. So there is time limit to control their revenue deficit till the 3% of their SDP. It different for general and special categories states. It will help to control the debt SDP ratio in future. To organize the debt structure is also required. The center should devaluate more resources to meet out its goal. The 13th FC did give 17.5 weight to fiscal discipline. The 14th FC has submitted its recommendations. In its recommendations, the 42.5 share of divisible taxes pool will transfer to the states. The role of Policy Commission have changed. It will give the policy recommendations in place of plan recommendations at both center and state level planning. Some changes are coming like GST. It will change the tax structure. New Pay Commission will give the extra burden on states' resources. The states are already facing the problem of fiscal deficit. So it is necessary to reevaluate the measurement for horizontal and vertical equity and smooth functioning of economy for development. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. In Indian federal system, center has more financial powers but fewer responsibilities than the states. The constitution gives government a mechanism for resource mobilization. Both Finance Commission and Planning Commission take the measures for resource mobilization. There is a change taken place in measures in current scenario.